a little bit of a crapshoot with this. Freaking YouTube and all that stuff. Oh. And of course, we're competing with the one and only Naomi Brockwell, who, which, I mean, I didn't do this on purpose, but it is nice that her live show is an hour after my live show, so I don't have to compete directly. And by the time you hit the Dash podcast, there's like not complete overlap.
Yeah.
There's like not complete overlap with users and stuff and audiences. So I did like her video though. Like, so you could tell.
I haven't watched it yet, actually.
Oh, that's great. Well, I get that you're busy with other things, but like, what I do like about it is you could tell that the entire prompt was DashDirect, and that they only looped in BitPay to try to be like, well, there's stuff too, right? Yeah, like to make it like actually like objective. Oh. Agnew is in live chat. Hey, Agnew.
Hey, Agnew.
Where can I see the live chat? Just on YouTube?
And yes, and Odyssey. So what I'm doing, just giving away my secrets because my computer's a slow piece of crap. I keep all my stuff on my phone. So I'm keeping the live chat for the videos on the phone. That's why you see me looking down during podcasts. At some point, I'm gonna just like have the live chat. I'm gonna get a good enough computer and an HDMI splitter, so it's not just the monitor and then like the laptop here. So I get to have like live chat, and just like do it. But right now my computer can't really handle that, so it is what it is. Yep. Eventually upgrade the hardware. I might just like just do it. Hi, First Light.
I'm going to do the same. I'm going to open the live chat here.
Wow, there's quite the delay on the YouTube version. That's like 15 seconds or something.
It tends to be something like that. I don't know why I've noticed that. But anyway. Yeah, crazy times. I'm not going to talk about this on the... I mean, we are live, but I'm not going to talk on the super live pod. But there's a lot of drama behind the scenes with like Dash Core Group and the Trust Protectors and all that coming on and stuff.
Oh yeah, I just finished reading the report.
Yeah, I'm not going to say any more, but if you want to know what the tea is, you got to jump on the after party when this is over. And we're going to be lots of smackdown, not smackdown, but lots of gossip. That's what you do this for. That's what the after party's for.
Yep.
So one time in First Light or watching on, or commenting, I mean, more people than that watching on Odyssey. And then Agnew is commenting and a bunch of people watching on YouTube. So now that we're actually like a little bit late, we should probably run the intro graphic and get going.
All right.
Oops, I hit the wrong button. Well, hey everyone, and happy Friday, or happy an hour later for the people that watched the last podcast. I'm joined by the one and only Pozo and the one and only Kanuuker. How's it going, guys?
Hello.
Pretty good. Chilling.
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, these fine young gentlemen are my partners in decentralization, so to speak, for the Dash Marketing Hub, which is tasked with it's the only organization that's really doing active like promotion of Dash right now, other than just random community efforts and stuff. Although I kind of say we help out with a lot of community efforts as well. So before we get started, obviously subscribe and throw some likes in here and jump into the live chat. Although if you really want us to answer your questions, it's at discretion. Depends on how much you piss off Kanuuker if he has to just bring it up. But like you got to go cointr.ee/the desert lakes and then go leave a live super chat, and then that will compel us to at least acknowledge that. So with that being said, I guess let's just kind of get on with it. So the entire idea behind this is just to kind of give an update of where's Dash going as far as marketing and promotion in this year, in the coming months. And so if I don't know if you remember 2 weeks ago, it was kind of an interesting last few months for Dash for sure, because I'm just using it by Dash podcast milestones, because 2 Dash podcasts ago, I had Ryan Taylor on for a special AMA to address some stuff that was going on in the community. And shortly after that, like within 5 days after, he decided to step down as CEO of the Dash Core Group. And as of right now, there is still no.
Well, he already knew it, right? He just made it public.
Yeah, that's stuff. That's stuff that's a little. Basically, as it is later come out, for personal reasons, he was going to step down at some point. But then there was a bunch of discontent that then he ended up stepping down after that. So that was then. And then the last Dash podcast 2 weeks ago, I had Ryan Gull on, to the head of the Dash Incubator, who's also a member of the Dash Marketing Hub, although he doesn't actually do anything. He's more there for an advisory role, kind of to help us get started and stuff. So we're basically talking about, all right, now we're at this new chapter of the project's existence. What is going to be, where are we going from here? Obviously, we have the old, let's just get platform released and, all this kind of stuff, the usuals. But what other stuff could we look forward to? What's our wish list of cool stuff we want to see done with Dash? So we've covered that. And now, it isn't the wish list of, what would be awesome to do. Now it's more of this show is more of a getting together all the stuff that exists now or will exist, not necessarily that we'd like to exist. That's a further list we already covered, right? And then talk about the 3 of us and beyond, right? Our plans to promote this, and then more, kind of more broadly, how the strategy for promoting Dash moving forward, and just a discussion on that. So I'm going to talk a lot about this stuff, and I would appreciate from you guys. Rebel Science just says, is this live or an old recording? No, it's live. I mean,
we're live.
Maybe it's because there have been so many Dash podcasts, maybe because there was one with 3 of us before. I did change up some of the words on it a little bit. I had a little DashDirect logo and stuff, but I understand. I need to up my thumbnail game. Sorry, Rebel Science. But anyway, I encourage you guys, the community, to jump in the live chat or the live super chat more specifically, with ideas, suggestions, comments, things like that. So, any initial words while I'm sharing this link in the Discord, guys?
Yeah, so as you were saying, as the hub, we are transitioning out of that first step where we're getting ourselves known to the community, where we're just beginning and figuring a lot of stuff out. How do we do things, the Trello workflow and all that kind of stuff. But we're starting to be past that. We already put out some videos, we put out some good tweets, and we've had a good amount of interactions from people. We've got some hype going in some communities. I remember when we decided to focus on Thorchain, we just were like, oh, let's do a bunch of tweets on Thorchain and boost some and all that kind of stuff. And we saw how the community reacted to that, and came, not just our community, but the Thor Chats community. So after that, now that we are kind of starting to prove that we can be effective, what things can we do? And I think there's a lot of exciting things that we're gonna be able to do now that we have for example, the DashDirect MasterCard official launch and other things that are coming up. So I think, it's an exciting year for the Dash community, for the marketing hub, for anyone wanting to participate and come do things with us. So, stay tuned in.
Yeah. So the let's just outline the things that are on the table that Dash has going for it in this year. So
Sounds good.
Obviously, there's a ton of stuff like that makes it a solid project and stuff. But as far as big things we got to market, in my view, there's like the three, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, right? It's DashDirect, it's Thorchain,
Yep.
and it's platform. So
Yes.
DashDirect is for sure. It exists now. It's out there right now. It's
Yeah,
the full
I'm
release,
using it. So
yeah, the full release, like
Yeah,
with NFC or a physical card stuff soon, very soon, within a couple of weeks, hopefully. Thorchain is the vaguest of those things. I think Thorchain is like a 90% chance gonna happen. I don't think it's 100%. I'm just throwing it out there because Dash isn't the highest market cap or volume project that is trying to be integrated with them. But the community excitement is palpable, and the ease of integration, especially now that it's been like completed, pretty much is it's there. And so there, and also reason number one, the DashDirect card, that has given a very big reason to get added to Thorchain. So that's pretty good. And so the number one and number two are additions to the Dash ecosystem. Number three platform is Dash itself. All right.
That's the big one. Platform is still the real deal. That's, even though it's been so long delayed and it's kind of fallen under the limelight in what we discuss or whatever at times.
absolutely.
It's still what takes Dash to the next level that nothing else can really do.
Yeah. And
Fundamentally speaking,
for
not
years,
real integrations and all that kind of stuff, but fundamentally speaking, platform is what makes Dash. I mean, we already have things that differentiate Dash: chain locks, instant send, but platform will take that to the next level: the ease of use, and the capabilities of the chain itself, like the network itself.
So as far as like unique value propositions, right? As far as that's concerned, the first two are integrations, so it's not exclusive to Dash. The last one is. Now the thing about the integration, so a lot of projects are on Thorchain. Thorchain just launches the Dash token, as in the actual unit of the whatever, into the DeFi world fully. Dash is kind of like, I would say, to a certain extent, a DeFi pioneer in that you could, run a masternode, and that was like passive income for some people. It's a little fuzzy with those definitions, but like,
Yes.
I don't know how many proof of stake coins there were especially like viable ones that people used. And Dash is obviously not proof of stake, but the ability to earn on your Dash natively, to stake, as it's become more commonly known, is kind of something that early the Dash did, but then kind of didn't really innovate beyond that for a while. And then in that domain, I should say. And then now with Thorchain, it's like, oh, well, now you'll be able to earn this on A. You'll be able to like take loans out on your Dash. You'll be able to do a bunch of other stuff like that. It just opens up a whole bunch of new functionality, which, let's be honest, is not going to give Dash a competitive edge. It's going to bring Dash up to today, where that's what everyone kind of expects from the crypto. And Thorchain is a huge value add for anyone. And DashDirect right now is pretty much one of a kind. There are so many different gift card apps out there. We're just forgetting the virtual MasterCard for now. There's so many virtual gift card services out there, but none of them, even Bitrefill, which is pretty solid because I've been using it for many years, they're pretty much, none of them let you just kind of use it as a money substitute, where you just walk in, hey, how much is this? Well, here you go. Scan it. You're done. Almost everything was like, well, I got to buy it in advance, or I got to buy for a larger amount, or I got to wait till the store's not very busy, that kind of stuff. It was kind of the first, not unique, but like beyond. And then with the card, that is definitely something at least for now, it's definitely something unique, because to the point where people, including the former lead developer or whatever he wants to call himself now, Chad Bareford of Thorchain, doesn't believe it, really. He still doesn't think that, there's no way this Dash card thing is legal. But it is.
It is, and no KYC.
Well, it's pretty easy to explain if you just get a second. Explain that it's a gift card. Like when you go to Walmart or anywhere and you buy a gift card, you don't have to show ID. It's just a virtual instant gift card. Once they understand that, then the legality is easy to understand.
Yeah, and the thing is, so in order to make the Dash Marketing Hub work, we use Trello, and Trello Premium specifically. Trello Premium is not free. I did use a free trial for a while, but then at some point I had to pay. So I went to, I believe Coinsbee was the site, and they sell digital prepaid Visa gift cards. I think I actually use an Amex one, but whatever. So I used some crypto. Unfortunately, it wasn't Dash because the amount they have something funky with their Dash part of their payment processor, which annoyed me, but whatever. But used it. You just basically bought a little prepaid gift card, put it on, used it, and there you go. But you can't like refill it or anything. And I believe as far as competitors are concerned, there's a company called MoonPay, I believe, that has a like Lightning Network powered card that, similar to DashDirect, lets you no KYC, load up a card and spend it, a virtual card. The difference is right now, I believe, that's like a one-time card, right? As in, you load $100 for this card, and then you spend it and you're done. You have to get another one. Whereas the
that's really not convenient.
Well, that's one of the big things I really liked about the DashDirect card is because I use Bitwarden Password Manager and manage all my cards and all that stuff, and I can load my DashDirect card into that because everything's saved. So when I go to buy something, bam, populate, make sure I move my funds over, and I'm done. It's so simple.
Yeah, it is. It is awesome, and you have the custody of your funds all the time, right until the moment of purchase, where to just load it, use it, and then you're done. But you can have, like, for example, you can pay your Netflix bill with it, and you don't need to go to Netflix, go to your account, and change the payment method every single month, because you need to load a new card unless you load it with a bunch of money. But then again, they have the custody of your funds for a while. But if you just want to pay the $10 the Netflix costs, for example, a month, then you can just link your DashDirect card, and that your subscriptions are in total, let's say Spotify, Netflix, or whatever, $50 a month. Then you can just load it $50 a month, and that those things will be taken care of.
Do you know if there's any plans? Awesome. Do you know if there's any plans where you could have a recurring fee where you give permission to DashDirect to reach into your Dash wallet to pull funds out when there's something due?
Well, so this is interesting. This is an interesting thing because I have been in this. This is one of those kinds of things, right? Way back in the day, I was doing some sort of like nonprofit that I was running. It was only taking Bitcoin donations. That was all it did. And one thing I really wanted, because I come from the nonprofit fundraising world before I was in crypto, and one thing I wanted is to set up recurring donors, right? You just $5 a month, you could support the project. There's no recurring crypto payments like in a non-custodial way. Kind of. Well, the thing is every time you send a transaction, you have to sign it, which requires your control over the wallet, your keys. You sign it and then broadcast it. You usually sign and broadcast at the same time, but sometimes you could sign it and then broadcast it later. I guess the way you could probably do that would be, there'd be some other things you could probably do, but point being, you'd have to say you have to pre-sign a year's worth of this kind of stuff and then every month let the
They
other
broadcast that.
the other party, you have to like a multi-sig kind of a thing where both parties have to sign it, and so you both sign 12 in advance, and then any one of those parties can broadcast it, and then you can kind of do it. And then but then that's kind of like pre-allowing someone to take all your money, sort of.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do that, I mean, services like the majority of the subscription services, they offer a year-long payment and normally a discount with it. So if you're gonna do that anyway, then you just pay the full year. I mean, if you are gonna need to have the funds there anyway.
Yeah, the
and
authorization thing, you'd have to do some sort of a smart contract, I think. Or what I like better is when it's as simple as making a decentralized API call and platform where every month their system automatically hits you with an invoice. And so you're on your phone, it goes, bing, pay your Netflix, and you hit yes. Bing, pay your Netflix.
That would be really nice.
Yeah,
that's possible, right? With platform?
Yes, it should be. It's just as simple as like a payment request. The thing is, you can't send payment requests right now to Dash wallets or just regular crypto wallets. Again, there's a lot of crypto stuff out there. I don't know what else is out there, what other systems there are, what other smart contract, blah, 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 blah. But as far as like the old school crypto stuff, it's permission. You need the permission from the holder of the keys. And so,
well, yeah, no one has the capability, and this is pretty much for sure, right? Like it on chain, to do that on chain. Like it might be through a third party that they can send you an invoice through a whatever, but we're talking about, in that decentralized way, them sending you an invoice. That I don't think there's anybody can do that.
yeah.
That can do that.
So I think you can do that today, theoretically, with a smart contract. From my understanding, though, it's not really done because it's extremely complicated, depending on the payment situation. So, for example, it just says, like, if Netflix hits you with this, send money to there. And the problem is that basically it's like signing over custody of your whole money to Netflix, because if they exploit this market, they could just keep on hitting up for money. So then in order to add fail safes to that, you'd have to add different conditions. Like if you still have access to Netflix, then pay them at this end of the month automatically. But then how do you figure that out? You have to use an oracle, which transmits information to the blockchain. Where does that oracle get you? And see, it starts to become more and more complex, and then the whole system could, it gets annoying. Which, by the way, is a side note on all this stuff. That's one thing that NFTs are probably going to be really good for, is NFTs to a certain extent could be like their own oracle. Like if you possess this NFT in your wallet, you have access here, and then then you can get paid. Or if you have the NFT, it's in an address or a wallet that then you can send other money to. So you could give like, hey, my first 10 subscribers or whatever to my channel, I'm gonna sell them an NFT, and then in the future, like, hey, I just made a $200 million Spotify deal, yay! I'm gonna send $1 million to those first 10 NFT holders, and you just send it right there, and they can get it. But anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent. The point is, recurring payments. Wow, where did we get to that? We're talking about the DashDirect thing. Oh yeah, the card. The fact
we're talking about fundamentals, really.
Well,
I mean,
we got on a tangent. We got on a tangent on the fundamentals. But as far as the DashDirect card, right now, no one does what it does. The thing about that is, it's a legal possibility for anyone to do the same. So I don't think that Marshall with Ionia has divulged the exact setup they're using that allows them to provision basically a no KYC prepaid kind of card thing that you can then reload infinitely up with certain limitations, right? But you don't have to get a new one. But I'm pretty sure someone's going to figure that out at some point and make the requisite deals with the requisite banks. So this Dash exclusivity on that is not going to last forever, especially once it gets some splash. And beyond that, Ionia is a company that produced the CrayPay app and some other ones. And they produced the DashDirect app for Dash. They got commissioned by Dash to do that, and Dash got equity in their company in exchange for that. And that doesn't mean that they're a Dash exclusive company necessarily. It would not surprise me at all if they're continuing to make more products for more customers, including other crypto customers. So
Yes.
Not all, but not
Yes.
all the other cryptos have the same technical capabilities to function adequately
Yeah.
in that role. I mean, with Bitcoin, with Bitcoin, with Lightning, sure, you could. I'm sure that can be set up, but with Bitcoin itself, I don't know how well that would really work.
You would have to go, instead of like going to the payment processor and knowing, so the good thing about Dash is you go to Walmart with your credit card, DashDirect credit card, then you pay for your groceries is $47.52, so you could just load the card with that amount of Dash and then just pay with it because it settles instantly. But other cryptos, it will work just fine with it. It would just mean that you would need to preload it, so you're not waiting for those 6 confirmations there for 20 minutes, or 30 minutes or whatever.
So here we talk about the competitive advantage of
Yeah.
Dash here, because I do think that there is the best tech, the best fundamental stuff does give real world benefits as far as competitiveness. It's a little bit more nuanced than it might seem, like, this works, everything else doesn't. So I'm thinking, what crypto business wouldn't want to take Dash? Because their payment is secure instantly, irreversible. It's done. That's fantastic. Now, if you had to take non-Dash coins, because that's what people wanted to pay you with, what conditions would you set up to take those payments? One of them is wait for confirmations. So, like, if you're going to take Bitcoin, you got to wait for at least a couple confirmations in order to trust that payment, which is a huge delay. Another way of doing that, and I think Bitrefill does this, they will accept 0 confirmation on-chain Bitcoin for small amounts. Again, we're talking about risk tolerance. That's the number one. So it's smaller amounts that they're able to, the risk of like someone of it being double spent isn't worth like caring about. That's one. But then the other thing is they say from a wallet with replace by fee disabled. Now, I have no idea how they know that. But so for those who don't really know, with Dash, you send a transaction and it's just, that's it. It works. With Bitcoin, let's say, Bitcoin Cash, you send a transaction. It's probably going to go through eventually, but might not. And you wait for confirmation. With Bitcoin or Bitcoin Core, like they call it sometimes, you send a transaction and you can send the exact same transaction somewhere else with a higher fee and reliably move it somewhere else before it gets confirmed. So because of that, no merchant's going to take that. So Bitrefill would want that. So we're talking about opening up to other currencies. Which ones have instant confirmations? Very, very few. Pretty much Dash and like a couple of crappy things. And so we were talking about, let's just say something like Bitcoin, they would have to either make you pre-buy, wait for confirmations, use small amounts, or do something via Lightning. And now the problem with Lightning is it's either going to be a centralized custodial service, or there's going to be a whole bunch of terms and conditions that apply. Like, do you have enough liquidity in your channel for this exact amount to reach there? Is the payment going to go through? Is there like a weird forced channel closure? Do they even have a route to your thing? There's like a bunch of like things that just make it.
Yeah, it's
and
very
also you have to
inconvenient.
load your money into Lightning first before using it. So all in all, the just works factor is always going to be there for Dash. So let's just say Dash is competing with a dozen other cryptos for this exact same functionality, and someone's like, "Oh, why should I use Dash instead? I already use my Litecoin." It's like, well, it's going to be companies at some point, if this becomes widely used enough, people will start stealing. They will start double spending. There will be payment failures, and they will actually care about like security, and they'll be like, okay, well, I don't have to worry about a Dash, but I do have to worry about a Litecoin transaction.
Well, here's the problem though. If you go to a merchant and they're going to start with Bitcoin, Bitcoin is the king of the hill, and then they run into those issues where you got the confirmation times, the high fees, the replace by fee, all that sort of stuff. and that's going to sour them on crypto right away. So then how do you get through all the other coins before you even get to Dash, before you even know about us?
Yeah,
And
that's
this is the problem solver. How do they even know that when they're already soured on it?
there's so much noise in the crypto world. There's so much crap out.
Yeah. Well, so
And something that doesn't help is that normally media is only driven by money. Whoever gives them money, that's who gets promotion. So because of that, it's really hard to get through the noise. But that's what we have to plan for.
yes.
I know
So
I watch these podcasts like Russell Brand or any of these guys or whatever, and they talk about how all these things they want to see to fix the world. I'm like, and I want to yell at the screen like, we've got the solution right here, but I don't know how to get them to hear.
well, part of it is you get people to use things, and that's so ultimately we got right now from this discussion of DashDirect. Right now, for the next few weeks at least, we have an exclusive product, and
Yes.
the challenge is from today we have a online only / annoying to use in the real world product. In like as soon as there's a physical card available, that's like an all systems go kind of promotion. And so, because then you can a physical card or NFC, which I hear is working on Apple devices pretty well right now, but they're in the testing phase. But that's just rumors at this point. But we have like the exclusivity and get to just get out there of this is what Dash can do. Nothing else can do this. By the time there's any kind of reasonable competition, you can just leave off the last part of the sentence and still do all systems go. Because the average person on the street who doesn't like fiat or wants to live on crypto in any way, shape, or form is going to be, if you reach them and you say, you can live all off of crypto, this is how easy it is, boom, they're going to jump on board. They're not going to be like, oh, okay, let me consult the oracle of CoinMarketCap and let me do my research and see what other tokens can possibly, they're just going to be like, oh, I didn't know that you could do this with Dash. I'm going to get some Dash and use it. And so the non-crypto people, the new people, or just even crypto people who just don't use it, those people will always be a group you can target. Oh, you can do that with 5 different coins already? Well, who cares? We're only spending our advertising dollars talking about this one and getting people on board. And it's just like no one's going to be like, well, but it's just not unique enough. Like, not everything is a Twitter pissing contest, Like, sometimes you just reach customers and they come on board and do that. There's that one group of people we're targeting. The second group is crypto users or current crypto users, and people who may or may not already try to spend crypto. And you just say, like, for example, hey, you're a Bitcoin Cash guy. You spend Bitcoin Cash here, there, everywhere. I bet you don't spend it everywhere. Here, swap some over for Dash. Try out the Dash experience. Use it in these ways that you can't use Bitcoin Cash. And you just use both side by side. And once you have a crypto user who's using both, everyone always remarks, man, that Dash is so easy. It's so easy to do. Like, that's been the number one way I've seen people I haven't seen people go the other way. I've not seen people who use Dash for payments be like, yeah, you know what? I'm using more Bitcoin Cash these days, for example. Yeah. It's always been, unless they have no choice, right? But from just user experience, you convert people over. So
for me,
yeah.
Something that has been a learning experience was to teach and show Camila, by the way, for the ones that don't know, she is the lady that's taking care of our TikTok right now. She just started with TikTok and our Instagram. We reach her out. She's my neighbor, because she grew an Instagram account on her own, that had something like 35,000 followers. Don't take me on that number, but it's something like that. And she was getting a lot of brands coming to her and a lot of products delivered to her for her to try, and took a picture of. And I was like, okay, she knows what she's doing. She could be a good person to contact to offer her to manage one of her profiles or something. So I messaged her, and at the beginning I was just showing her how Dash works, and she had zero contact with crypto before. She didn't even know what a cryptocurrency was at all. But She just downloaded the wallet. I just sent her a buck in Dash. She sent it back. Oh, okay. I see how that works. But then as soon as she got, I told her, you can go to stores and spend this. And she was like, what? No. And I showed her the DashDirect app, some of the restaurants, some of the places that are there. This was before the MasterCard. And she just got some Dash and went to try it. And I remember one day she came to me and she was so happy. I use it. I bought this with this and the other. And she started watching videos and getting more into it. And I think she's her experience is what we should target regarding that first group, right? People like that, and how do we get the word out with enough, not just a phrase, but enough information so they can know that this is an alternative to fiat.
Yeah, the first group is you can use crypto today. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one? Or just, hey, have you used Dash? Here you go. And you can just get them on, and there's that sort of like the first mover advantage loyalty factor that you get just by being their first point of contact, right? You know, it's like how many people use referral based businesses, right? Like they only, and I admit this is something, and I tend to be much more skeptical and research driven than the average person, I would say. But even so, a lot of the businesses that I use are because someone I know recommended them. And that is very, of course, usually when they do that, then I compare with a couple of different things, but still, it's just, that's where it comes from. And so, or if it's the first thing you heard about, like the odds of using that are probably going to be there. And you'd have to have a switching incentive. So the good thing about Dash is there's so much virgin territory out there. So many people who just have not used crypto to buy anything. And you can just, here you go, try this out. And they're like, oh, this is great. I like this. And then they're a Dash user. It's done. Now, the switching incentive would only come if they had stuff they couldn't buy with Dash, which right now in the US, it's not really a reality. You can buy everything. So now on the other side, you have the established customers, right? The people who use other products. First off, most of crypto is still virgin territory because they like crypto, they own it. That just makes it easier for them to get Dash, but they don't use their crypto other than buy some NFTs or some, MetaMask is probably 90% of crypto buying and selling, like stuff you do with your actual crypto other than buy it on an exchange. It's like MetaMask. But as far as goods and services, no. So you have those people, they're kind of like easier to onboard virgin territory. The virgin territory group, but then the people who have crypto and like crypto who don't use it, that's the number one thing we're going to try to target right away. And then on the other side, you have people who use crypto and maybe not Dash. They're a little harder to get their attention, get them to care, but I do think it is relatively doable to get crypto users to switch to Dash because the experience is simply much, much better. And so, for example, if you use the average non-custodial Lightning wallet, first off, they're getting expensive. Like to load your Bitcoin onto there, it's starting to become. First off, in order to open up a channel with them, you have to send the Bitcoin, which is a Bitcoin transaction fee. Maybe you can get away with 50 cents or something. But then they will charge a channel premium to open up the channel. So you're spending a few dollars just to load money on there. And then it might be a few cents per payment. But then you start running into okay, well, this payment didn't work, whatever. If you get a Lightning user and say, just use Dash, store it on your hardware wallet, and then you just move it right to wherever, it just zip, no problem the entire way, you can get people to switch. So we have I would say 2.5 groups to target. There's the virgin audience, which the subgroup of that is crypto holders, which are really easier. And then crypto users who they have their own difficulties in getting to them because there's so much noise, but they can be switched, as opposed to the opposite doesn't really work. You don't get these virgin users here, and then they're going to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to use this slow and shitty like other experience. It's just not going to work out that way. So
Yeah.
that's for the DashDirect thing. So before we get into like the more broad spectrum of things of like marketing Dash in general, the short-term plan, meaning next few days and weeks and stuff, we're going to do a Brave browser advertising campaign for DashDirect.
That's exciting.
Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I have a meeting with them next week. And then after that, in the meantime, though, Naomi Brockwell, shout out to Naomi. I know she's doing her live show right now, but maybe she just wrapped up. But she did a great video on how you can spend your crypto easily through cards. And she did the BitPay card and DashDirect. Honestly, it was more about DashDirect, but BitPay was included for, fair and balanced reasons. And so that's already almost 10,000 views right now, which is it's pretty decent. And we're probably going to start boosting some social media posts in very short order, like starting over the weekend and stuff, and getting a lot more eyeballs on that because it's not an advertisement. However, it's an objective comparison of things, and it has gotten. I've seen people in the comments like wanting to try it out. I've seen people comment to me that they saw from the video. I have heard, through the Z Gold grapevine, citation needed, but whatever, that there's been a noticeable bump in signups after the video. So we're going to throw some money at that.
Yeah.
We're going to do the Brave ad, which is more than just some money. We're still talking small numbers here.
The Brave ad,
saying?
it's a
For
good
us, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like 20 grand or something. We'll see. Something like that. Again, this is all public stuff. This is not like, a lot of companies don't talk about their advertising goals and budgets and stuff this openly, but radical transparency. What are you going to do? So then after that, depending on how much is left over, we'll pursue specific influencer sponsorships. Not on this channel. This is a freebie. My channel, I'll always talk about it for free. But so that's like basically we want to make a splash to get a bunch of new people onto DashDirect in short order. And then we can do a follow-up with more advertising money and stuff like that just to get that out of the way. But that's the big thing we do short order. Thorchain is not for sure. The timeline for Thorchain is not for sure yet. So plans for that are not for sure yet. But there will, of course, be something when that happens. And platform itself, of course, there's a lot more mystery about timelines. Hopefully by the end of the year, who knows? Oh, there's a lot more mystery about timelines and the actual end deliverable, meaning what will be the first dApps that will work with that. Definitely DashPay, the username wallet will be one, but who knows for the others, and what can be marketed to developers and stuff at what point. And that'll be harder for us as non-technical people to wrap our heads around, but we will get help on that, and we will make sure that gets marketed. So before we go into the next thing, let's just hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the hub. We are not the hub. We are just guys, overseeing the hub. We're three, so there's no one that has the power over it, to try to encourage decentralization. But the cool thing is, we need help from someone that's more technical than we are. We'll just pay him for it, and then we get that help. And we're able to do that, and that's a huge advantage of a structure like the hub. Is so flexible, is so malleable. We can really use it to promote almost anything, and I'm pretty excited about this year and the integrations that are hopefully coming with now the DashDirect. And we'll hit one after the other. Now we know that the DashDirect is finally coming, official, full featured. So we'll focus on promoting that with the Brave ads, with the YouTube promotions and so on. Then after that, hopefully we'll get platform, and platform is a more technical release, but there are a lot of cool things that we're going to be able to do with platform, and we'll probably try to get Ryan's help and other people's help to understand better how can we promote some of the technical advancements that platform gives us. And then, when Thorchain comes, then we'll just hit it as it comes. And I'm sure that we'll be, putting up some proposals to the network to help us fund these things. And I'm excited to have an organism that can just, grow and grow and promote more and more. And I think we're soon started going to be see some of the fruits of that. So
Yeah. So let me hit on. There's a couple things. So first off, we're talking about the specific products we're going to promote, but
right.
we haven't really had a like. I know Dash Core Group had their own ideas of how to promote Dash, like what elements there are, but as far as getting this out here in a general sense, not just for us, but for the entire community who might be watching and brainstorm this kind of stuff. We're talking about what happens if these products that we have cease to become, I guess, unique or competitive. Like, what happens if there's another card that like everyone's using Lightning wallets, and there's this one card that and they somehow start working reliably, which again I doubt, but whatever. And there's this one card that lets people do it without using their ID and stuff, and then there you go. So that happens. Everyone else is on Thorchain, and then let's just say platform isn't out yet. What is there to promote that's Dash's unique value proposition here? So that's where we go back to fundamentals, because fundamentals are not end user products and experiences. They are, however, what enables or what eventually will trickle down into end user products and experiences. Do you think that anyone would want you to have to preload a channel in order to spend your Bitcoin? Do you think anyone would want there to be a kind of a roulette of, is the payment going to go through based on these circumstances and who I'm sending it to and where? Like, no one planned that into the user experience. I mean, maybe someone did, depends on how conspiratorial you are, but probably no one planned that into it. That was just a limit of the fundamentals that trickled into the end user experience. So,
yeah.
Dash's fundamentals. What are Dash's fundamentals? Well, first off, on a very practical scale, payments are cheap, will always be cheap. Payments are instant, will always be instant.
Settlement, not just
and
payment.
Payments will be secure instantly, and will always be secure instantly. So now we're talking about how does that a competitive advantage? The fundamentals today, in as far as the end user experience, are not hugely competitive. Don't have a huge competitive advantage today. And that's just because no one uses crypto and no one really has to suffer for poor fundamentals yet. But we do see this. When a coin gets 51% attacked or otherwise suffers security issues, exchanges...
Grayscale was it.
Exactly. Well, exchanges, particularly, they start to make you wait significant periods of time before trusting those transactions. And if transaction fees are too high on the user level, on the network level rather, they will attach extra withdrawal fees for sending transactions off platform. So it starts to become more expensive and slow on those kinds of things. If there's a security issue, then it just takes more time for them to figure out if they want to trust the payment or not. And so you're looking at something like, let's say, Litecoin. Litecoin's a good one to compare against because that's like the payment coin that's not... We already trashed Lightning enough. Let's go to Litecoin. So what are people going to do with Litecoin? So for the same... Litecoin's relatively cheap still, but it's picking up volume, and it's getting on the less cheap side. I don't... If there is at some point scaling scarcity... So Litecoin has 4 times the transaction capacity of Bitcoin today. I don't know if they're going to increase the block size. I don't think they're ever going to do that. And so I think that at some point you're going to hit delays and higher prices as a result of that. But also just the fact that the security, it's never going to be secure instantly. And so, whereas let's just say you could load your Litecoin card with like $20 worth of stuff to pay for coffee or in lunch and whatever, instantly. If you want to go buy something bigger, like, hey, I want to go pay a, something, I have a little bit more personal experience with. If you want to register an LLC in the state of New Hampshire, $107, right?
Yeah. That
might be too much for them to trust a zero-conf thing. So if I'm like, all right, I got to load up my card real quick, and it's Litecoin, might be, got to wait for some confirmations. You're like, oh, now I can't register this before I go out to dinner. I can't pay for this $100+ item. But with Dash, you always can. So there's that user experience problem that you're going to hit with Litecoin. Now, so user experience of like you're going to have to wait in some situations. Let's be realistic. Maybe not all, but in some situations, you're definitely going to have to wait a little bit longer. And if you get, you pay at the coffee shop or whatever, they might, make you wait around, or they might just say, those kinds of problems. And then they might even just add a discount for something like Dash that's instant. That just it's going to go through. You don't need to worry about stuff because they don't want to have to deal with the whole whatever else. They want to incentivize more of what they want. So then you could say, the Dash user either gets their experience better or they get a discount. And when you talk about privacy is an interesting thing in regards to Litecoin, because I believe Litecoin recently deployed a Mimblewimble sidechain. So Litecoin itself doesn't have any kind of advanced privacy at all. Unless you want to build like a mixing service and use Litecoin. I'm sure there are some out there somewhere. But when you're using Mimblewimble, the problem is, first off, it's a compatibility issue. As far as I understand it, again, this is not me doing not any research beyond what I already know about how Litecoin works, about how Mimblewimble works, about how the sidechain works, right? This isn't a lot of research. However, I don't believe you'll be able to just send Litecoin to any Litecoin address. It'll have to be a Mimblewimble enabled processor or whatever wallet or something. So instantly you can't use advanced privacy when you're using Litecoin by default. Also, a drawback of Mimblewimble is that you have to be online at the same time as whoever you're paying is online. And I think that's a fundamental, kind of like Lightning, right? Where now if you just have like, here's my Mimblewimble Lightning address, you can't just like pay to that because they're like not online. So I honestly don't think Mimblewimble as a technology is really going to stick around that much. But especially for Litecoin, I think Litecoin is kind of like adopting SegWit. Like, oh, look, we did a thing, pump our price. So now Dash's mixing
nobody's even talking about Litecoin anymore. I don't see it anywhere.
Yeah. I mean,
they're just there.
Welcome to the Dash world, huh? Although, we will be changing that. But as far as Dash's privacy thing, I believe needs an overhaul. At the very least, I think it needs to be in mobile wallets that don't suck. And
absolutely.
But if you have pre-mixed funds, you can just pay any Dash invoice and it works. The challenge from that is regulatory, because I have heard of some friends using some exchange services that only KYC after a certain amount of money, but they used a CoinJoin transaction to pay it, and they had to get KYC even though it was a small amount. And so I have not experienced that. However, as a precaution, I always when I make sure the mixing is a step before the payment. When I send to something. Like, for example, if someone gives me their Coinbase address to pay them back for something, I'm not going to send a mixed transaction there. I'm going to send from a wallet that the balance got it from a mixed transaction, just to avoid the regulatory issue or headaches, just in case. Hopefully that's not too much of a problem for very much longer, but it's always like an issue with with that kind of stuff. But the point being, the user experience of like, well, I want to pay privately with Litecoin for this stuff. It's like, good luck. Just use Dash. It's so much easier. So that's those kind of fundamentals, really matter in those cases. And I'm sure if there's any more attacks or network thing or those kinds of concerns, or like a mining ban, that's another thing. We're starting to get deeper into fundamentals here. A mining ban. What happens if countries start banning proof of work and your hash rate goes way down? Now, Dash doesn't worry about that as much because anyone could just sort of be randomly mining Dash from their computers on a small level, even if all the ASICs go away. Dash could become super easy to get the majority of hash rate on and try to 51% attack if they wanted to, but it still remain secure because of chain locks. Whereas if the same thing happened to Litecoin, there you go. And so that's just another layer of peace of mind. Again, that's more stuff you talk about, people market to, but eventually when people start becoming worried about this, then you start talking dollars and cents for that.
Didn't Monero run into an issue where they had a 51% concentration? They weren't attacked, but they were at risk of being attacked.
Yes, and that is one of those challenges when you make it difficult to have ASICs, is it becomes a lot easier to do that. And of course, the community rallied around and started mining on other pools, like switching their hash rate to that. And some donor just like donated a whole bunch of money to like incentivize people to, or he like sold all his Monero to like buy hash rate to do something else or something. It's some heroic but sad that it had to happen kind of a thing. And
certainly not a sustainable solution.
Yeah, that's not what you want to have, happening. So that's another way where the fundamental kind of helps. Now, Dash's fundamental of a scarce supply obviously makes it more attractive to hold. Now, to be fair, Dash is on the long term one of the more scarce cryptocurrencies out there. Immediately, it has a slightly higher inflation rate than some of the other main competitors like Bitcoin and Monero and Litecoin, I think, because of the longer emission tail, the 7%ing down over a period of time. And so, but once it's below, like, I don't know what it is now, it's like a couple percent, 3%, something like that. But once it starts to become below 2%, it starts to become something you don't really worry about that much. But more importantly, the thing is, when you have that emission go down too quickly, the reason why Satoshi designed Bitcoin the way he did was that there would be enough subsidy to keep the network running until there was a ton of commerce going on through the network. And so Dash's block reward can still maintain a large, very powerful masternode network to secure the network and process all kinds of cool stuff like with platform. And the treasury is there. Litecoin is kind of, this is a giant assumption again, but Litecoin's kind of broke, I think. Like, they're, Charlie Lee and the foundation stuff are doing deals here and there, but like, as far as like what we're going to do, drop 20 grand here on this ad campaign there. And like, I don't think that they can compete in the same weight class with that, because there's still that leftover, not only the treasury, which is fantastic, which we can get to in a second, but just the fact that the inflation's going down slow, that you didn't have a whole bunch of people jump in the beginning, and then now they kind of got all the coins. Because of the slow thing, Dash will have a sustainable presence in both network security and in funding projects, while other projects have already kind of gone broke on both. And then they start having to then you start having to have like premiums.
And another thing we can do, because we also have governance, is that if we decide to, like this long after we're gone, we could take a vote to decide to introduce trickle inflation. So there's a perpetual output all the time. A low amount, so it's not going crazy like government fiat and crap like that, but enough to, if there still needs to be a bit to keep the miners going, it can be done.
Yeah. Now, personally, I would be in favor of an adjustment that would make the treasury somehow, however that was figured out, to have 10% of fees as well as inflation. So when the inflation goes away, the fees are still there to pay for
Yeah.
stuff because
Plus,
eventually,
plus there's also going to be platform fees.
yeah. And so there's basically the long-term sustainability that would, make sure the product keeps on being developed and stuff that other proof of work fundamental type cryptos just don't have. Now, as far as like the newer generation of cryptos, the problem is a lot of them are highly centralized. And the problem with something being highly centralized, other than it's no good, man, is we're at this stage when regulators are starting to say, you got to register here, you got to do this, you got to do that. And that will affect coins that it affects. It will not, and it doesn't really affect Bitcoin because it's decentralized enough in the ecosystem. Although, because it's so difficult to spend and use Bitcoin without things like big old lightning hubs or things like that, you still have that centralizing effect. But the point is, having those fundamentals make it that like you could probably so Terra, right? Terra Luna. I am not a big expert in it. I'm a fan of the project generally, but at the same time, if StableQuan, as he goes by, if he decides to do something crazy, maybe not super crazy, but crazy, the entire project's going to follow that. And so if the government decides to shut down Terra, they can shut down Terra. If they decide to shut down Dash, not really. It's not going to be nearly as easy. Let me open up. I got a super chat.
It is a big, and I don't think that generally the authorities have understood crypto and the potential, of it being a payment system versus the fiat system. I don't think they've understood the potential until very recently, or I mean, some politicians are beginning, or some regulators, they're beginning to get a whip of what that is, what that actually means. And the moment that they're realizing of it, then they're reacting by trying to ban it. And we're seeing right now in the United States with some of Biden's bill and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying, that I am pro Biden or against Biden or whatever. I'm not making a political statement here. But what I'm saying
that's what Kanuuker's here for, to make the
But what I'm saying is decentralization is very important because they will, at the moment that there is more adoption, they will try to shut us down. And one of the advantages that Dash has fundamentally is that the masternode network is very decentralized, and because of that, it provides all the good old features that we get from some other centralized services, but without decentralization. So we can get instant payments, we can scale, we can have cheap payments, we can have security that it's really hard to shut down, but we don't have the problem that a regulator can come and just shut us and
well, and it's
we're
not just,
done.
and it's also just
We
not
need to promote that. That's my point. That's one of the things that moving forward, what happens when we run out of integrations? I mean, we already working with DashDirect, that works great. What our platform is already out. Then we get in ThorChain, and for a while we don't have any new exciting integrations. I mean, we have a lot, but what do we promote? Well, we promote the best that we have. The best that we have is not those things, is the fact that we are fundamentally better for payments than any other payment system out there.
Yeah, and and the thing that Dash has, and I'm going to wrap up this point and then get to Anonymous's question here. The fundamental thing we have is Dash is the best payments and money system in the world. It's important for both because what Bitcoin kind of has the mantle, I don't think it's earned and I don't think it's permanent, of being like the best money system in the world.
Got it. Yeah.
Because it's transparent, it's verifiable, it's digitally scarce, and it's relatively secure, right? I think Bitcoin is pretty secure, but it's not. I don't think it's as secure as Dash. And I think that this will start that as technology improves and things like that. I don't think it will keep that kind of high point, but it's still like that kind of stuff. And then the monetary system of Bitcoin works decently, right? Dash has that, but it has payments too, all in the one thing. Now you could say, like, what about what Terra's doing, where they're doing like stablecoin payments and this and that, and like everyone's chasing the payment stuff, but then they lose the monetary fundamentals. And so the thing is, Dash has both. It's money you want to own, you want to hold, and you can just spend that easily. And it sounds like super simple, but it's nuanced. It's very valuable to have. And that's, in fact, like, I'm looking at the price of cryptocurrency assets. I am quite Dash heavy, right? As I'm sure we all are. And that's not necessarily in the short-term speculative sense panned out that well for us. But I'm trying to think of, like, well, what else would I rather have? And even if someone said, okay, we'll have some Bitcoin because it's going to be a better store of value than Dash. It's like, okay, maybe I will. But then what do I do with it? If I want to spend it, I'm going to have to use Dash. I'm just going to keep it in Dash. It's easier that way. And that's been my thing because I've actively tried for my own sanity and just to diversify my holdings more than I have. It just doesn't work because I need to spend money. That's what it's for. And you can spend Dash, and other stuff like having it all in a Lightning channel just doesn't make sense to me. So it's that killer combination.
If I kept all my Bitcoin, I'd be a millionaire at this point. But I got rid of it all because I wanted to get my Dash Masternode. And that was worth it, even though my net value is much lower than it would have been. I now have this money printing machine, basically. And so every month I get more money coming in that I can go and actually use it. And I can do it anonymously. It's completely off the grid money.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not a Masternode operator. I am on CrowdNode, so I technically have part of a Masternode. But I, just as you, I get my, I think right now is $70-$80 a month of Dash that I can just go and take my wife out for, on a date and spend, and again, money off the grid, right?
That's another thing.
I'm spending my off the grid money to get off the grid. I just bought a 3.6 kilowatt solar
as God
generator.
intended. Let me just add that because that's another thing. We're talking about what is the package, like what is better about Dash. The thing about Dash is you can stake it. Now, you can stake other coins, right? Dash has a more clunky staking kind of thing because you either have to have 1,000 of them, or you have to use a service like CrowdNode. But the point remains, well, first off, Dash is going to be so much better to use once you have CrowdNode in the Dash wallet itself. Because
that's
like
coming.
In-app
That's getting
staking.
fixed.
Yes. So that's going to be very useful. Of course, it's still not fully trustless or non-custodial, but, it is what it is. But the point of having that as a source of income in the Dash network, a source of utility for the Dash token, it unlocks the ability to generate this, I would say passive income, but pretty much passive income. Even if there's other things like Thorchain that let you do things. Dash is always going to compete out of its weight class because the liquidity is competing between Masternode and DeFi. Or Masternode kind of is DeFi to a certain extent, but you know what I mean. So it's always competing with that. So both the yields for both of those are going to be higher for the transaction volume levels. And so that's always going to be like for example, if Litecoin and Dash had the same trading volume on Thorchain, I would expect Dash to be significantly more profitable to provide liquidity for on Thorchain because they have to compete with the masternodes. And so then that translates to, all right, not only can you use your Dash faster and more privately, but you can get more for staking it, because at some point you're going to be able to stake everything, but you get more for it.
And both will be balanced out. As as
What?
the percentage, the yield that you would get on Thorchain grows, then more master nodes will be like, okay, I'll put my money instead of on a node, I'll put it on Thorchain. But then as they do that, the yield for the master node owner will grow as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it will balance, it would balance each
Mm-hmm.
other. So I think that's going to be great. Regarding what you were saying before about holding something else, I own a little bit of other cryptos,
Mm-hmm.
but in generally, I I sleep peacefully holding Dash, knowing that the fundamentals are so good that if I leave it in a hardware wallet, staking or whatever, for 100 years, I know that my grandchildren can come up and get it, and I trust that Dash will be worth something by then. But because the fundamentals are really good, but
Yeah.
I am nervous holding something, something with
Mm-hmm.
meaningful value, not dust,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't have the best fundamentals for what I believe is important. I mean, again, I'm in crypto because I believe that our fiat system is absolutely crap and
Mm-hmm.
that we need an alternative that's decentralized. And because of that, I think the only thing that I can peacefully hold you know, is Dash.
All right. Sorry for that. Right back. Let me really quick hit this because there's been a super chat that's been going on forever.
Oh
And
yeah.
then, so thoughts on acquiring the desert links? How would it benefit the Dash Marketing Hub in any way? Well, thank you. I have acquired some Dash over my life, and it has benefited the Dash Marketing Hub. So you're welcome. No, just kidding. I get what you're trying to say. Thoughts on acquiring the .dash top level domain? How would it benefit Dash Marketing Hub anyway? I actually don't know. Like, so if you acquire the entire .dash top level domain, does that mean that you own the exclusive rights for any website that's something .dash? I mean,
I believe so.
yeah. So, I mean, what is it like? Direct.dash would be dash direct, or like Djembe.dash. Um, I think,
It'd be like dash direct dot dash, wouldn't it?
yeah. I mean, the thing is, like a URL, like a cool, it ends up being access to a lot of snazzy URLs, right?
Yeah.
And that's about it. And I can't really think of
It adds a
like,
significant amount of legitimacy to a project because that means you've come up with a significant amount of money to be able to do that.
there we go.
It's a thing of legitimacy, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I would say it's not. It's kind of like an extra. I don't think it's something that it's worth spending a lot of money on just because, like, if it's Djembe.com or DashDirect.com or marketinghub.com or org or whatever, I don't think it really matters that much. That it's like marketinghub.dash or something. Like, I think
Well, I think
it's
we want
cool.
all our products to be Dash products. Like Djembe doesn't need to be Dash; it needs to
Yeah.
function as a decentralized, independent product
So,
that uses
yes.
Dash. But we don't need it doesn't need to have Dash involved anywhere for
Yeah.
it to work.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like that's one of those things that's the most kind of annoying to me. And I'm not trying to throw shade because I do use a lot of these things, but is like the Bitcoin Cash everything dot cash. It's kind of weird crap branding, I think, kind of like memo.cash or read.cash or whatever. It's like I think that we're at the point where end user products are what we need to be promoting, and the end user product branding should be good enough to, yeah, the end user product branding should be maximize utility for the end user, not for the, I guess the crypto community member who just likes seeing that look, see, this is my community, right? Like, it's okay. Like Twitch is probably the most successful crypto Twitter alternative, although I wouldn't doesn't seem to be doing super well these days. Sorry, Koinyuzi, if you're watching this, I'm just spitting facts. But just the fact that it was a different like world, it was not BSV kind of branded, I think helped a whole lot. So that's on that. So we got to run in just a few minutes. Let me do a crash course on the last thing we did not cover, which is platform. So For years, Dash platform was the mythical Dash platform was the big differentiator that does stuff that no one else can do. Now, Dash platform, it represents a little bit of that. I would say it's about 50-50 as far as 50% of platform, when released, hopefully very freaking soon. 50% of platform represents mostly catching up to the times. Not fully, but mostly catching up to the times to where you can do stuff, because the rest of the space is just shot ahead. I would say the rest of the space, because like Litecoin still can't do crap. Like Nano doesn't really do smart contract stuff. Bitcoin Cash doesn't either, although they do have the smart BCH sidechain thingy, but I don't even call that as like a BCH pro. It's almost like a separate chain. You know, it's like, But so it adds a lot of this like decentralized application Web3 functionality. Not all of it, because no smart contracts, but a lot of it back end. That's part of what it does. Now, the advantage is, first off, you get to catch up the Dash product. We could do all these cool modern things. Okay. But the bigger thing is the stuff that it does that no one else does. The decentralized digital identity system that is the centerpiece of Dash platform is something that no one else is doing. And so there are countless not countless, but there's a bunch of human readable username systems in crypto today. They all kind of suck. They all don't really have like an account with it, like a decentralized account that really works. They don't have privacy in it and a whole bunch of other things. And so that is the number one thing. I would say that's actually kind of the number two thing the platform is good for. Is
what would be the number one?
Is the end user get to that really quick. Is the end user experience of you get to have a Dash account. You don't have to have like an Ethereum address, which is your Ethereum account, but it's just like the one address that everyone sees how much money you have. It's all this nonsense. And then a .eth whatever resolves just to that name, and like no, it's an actual like account that you can friend people with and have it's like a social blockchain account. And that is like, I would say is a close second. It's almost number one. Number one, I would say, is what I've been calling Web 4, which is the fact that it's Web 3, but you don't need to run a node. You can connect right to your app right to the blockchain. You don't need to worry about going through like a MetaMask or something like that, or then start censoring people and stuff. And it's like, well, if you don't want to be censored, run your full node. It's like, I don't think we realize just how annoying it is that whenever we use our phone to make, let's say, mobile Dash payments to stuff, to buy things, we're trusting whoever runs that freaking node to like not censor us or go away. And just the ability to just tap right into it's almost like sending a prayer straight to heaven and not having to go through a third party like a church. It's like straight up there. And so that is something that's really cool. And I think we can market that for developers, especially because it's not just, well, I feel so trustless doing this, man. It's like, no, a developer has to run their own node infrastructure. They don't want to do that nonsense if they don't have to. So if they don't have to, they're going to want to develop, like, do we really need all this smart contracts? I'll just do it on Dash. So with that, that's probably a good place to kind of wrap this up. Any other final thoughts, guys?
One quick thing. Right before we got on this call, I got an email from my bank, or I got an email from YouTube saying my payment was declined. And I'm like, what? And then I get a message saying from my bank, my payment was declined for my automatic YouTube premium. I got plenty of money in my bank account, and I can certainly cover was it $12 or $17 or something like that. This is why we have crypto.
I made a little video that went on TikTok and stuff for social media accounts about me buying my iPhone. It was a 3-4 day process with my bank to be able to get them to know that I want to spend my money and that they should let me spend my money. Anyway, it was a mess. And it was a debit card, and I had the money in the account. This is not like they're I'm not borrowing money from them, because I could understand, they want to know I'm borrowing a big amount or whatever. But that's not the case. It's my money that I'm spending. But yeah, Dash works so well to just go there and pay and you have your goods and you leave.
I can't even imagine what the reasoning would be to decline my payment for less than $20. It's just like it's a YouTube monthly subscription. What on earth could lead to it to be declined?
Terrible.
I don't know.
Let me there was a clarification on that .dash top level domain. This is having a top level domain would be awesome. Actually, in this case, we could implement a gateway and resolve -daps right from browsers. And Ivan from DCG says it could have big benefits dev wise. So I stand corrected. I guess it is valuable. It just it's not my
not our domain to worry about.
Yes.
Yeah.
But as far as like the -t, TLD, TDO, I thought that was funny. All right. So we will, at some point in the near future, have our next funding proposal up for our usual stuff. We're going to try to expand it a little bit to keep with the prices because I believe the price of Dash when we got our first proposal in ever was
$200,
$270. It got up.
Oh
to
yeah,
$270.
right. It was high. Yeah.
It was like $270, and so now it's just like getting like $250 a month would be like a break even back to that original amount. So
yeah, we're at 112 right now.
Yeah,
not only that, we need more money just because we've got so many of our boundaries we just put on pause so we can save up money for promoting DashDirect. Well, we need to do things. We need to hit all fronts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully we
and
can.
It's been kind of slow the past couple of weeks, with all the drama going on with DCG and whatnot.
Okay.
So I'm looking to get everything else wrapped back up again.
Fantastic segue to if you're interested in hanging out with us after you guys do what you want, but at least I will be on this little thing we call the after party, which is kind of like this, but it's not broadcast, and you can as many people as want can join, and it's where all the drama and I mean, there's a lot of other stuff too, but I'll
probably join on my drive home.
Yeah,
I'll be there for a little bit too.
Where all like the drama and gossip and stuff happens, and also a lot of really good work actually happens it's like the after hours. Anyone who's ever gotten anything done in life knows that the real work happens after hours. The social events, the hanging out at the bar, the whatever it is, that's where everything happens. That's why I've been going to conferences for decades now, and I almost never go to any talks or presentations at conferences. I almost always just hang out and network and talk with people because that's where the real action is. So that's what the after party is. If you want into the after party, you got to go to staydashy.com. That's the Dash Discord. And yeah, then you just ask around for the after party. Where's the after party at? Where's the after party at? And I will let you in. If you don't know and you want to go, you don't want to mess with that, but can contact me anywhere else, whether it's Twitter DMs, Telegram, anything, just hit me up there. I'll get you to the after party. Any final words?
Not for me.
Stay dashy. Taxation is theft. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Oh, man, I almost wore my taxation is theft t-shirt today.
Missed opportunity. That'll be for the next podcast. All right, guys.
All right.
Peace.